Good people, what's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Cal Griffin. I'm back with another edition of Legends Talk. Tonight we got a very special guest. This gentleman, he has a lot of history, with him. Back in the day, he went to Talentine, which is one of the legendary powerhouses in New York City. And after that, McDonald's All American, NC State played against some notable cats. You might have heard of them: Michael Jordan, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin. You know what I'm saying? Len Bias. So he's in that era. You know, definitely gonna be a goodie. I need everybody to go get your popcorn, go get your beverage, your refreshments, whatever you're gonna do, because you're in for a goodie. All right. So with no further ado, it's your guy Ernie Myers. Everybody, Ernie Myers, Legends Talk. Mr. Myers, how you doing, man? Mr.
I'm
Ernie
good,
Myers.
man. I'm good, Kyle, man. Just
It's a
glad to be
pleasure.
here, man. It's a pleasure and an honor and a privilege, brother.
I'm humbled, man. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come on board a Legends Talk and give the people a little bit about a little bit of information about your journey, man. It's been I'm sure it has its ups and downs,
Yeah.
and I'm just humbled and grateful that you gave us a chance to broadcast your journey to the masses, and you just give the people a little bit about your life and the stuff that you've been up to.
Oh, okay.
But before we get started, I definitely want to send a quick shout out to our sponsor for Legends Talk, Soul Pack. Soul Pack is a bag company, and they really have some really fire bags, man. For the basketball hooper out there, where you could stick your sneakers and inside like a separate compartment, and keep them separate from your clothes and your basketball and everything else. But we do have a commercial real quick. We're gonna go to the commercial break, and right as when we finish that commercial, we're gonna be live and direct with Ernie Myers.
This is a Brooklyn Bound.
That was Soul Pack, everybody. Soul Pack. Make sure you check them out. Make sure you follow them on social media at Soul Pack, and definitely don't forget to follow All Things Hoops. That's at All Things underscore Hoops. So with no further ado, Mr. Ernie Myers, man, like I said, it's a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's a pleasure to me, man, just to get out and to do your show, man, and just kick it with you, man. Like it's
Of
we're
course.
gonna kick it.
Yeah, of course. I gotta send a quick salute to Mike McLeod for connecting the dots on this.
Yeah,
I'm saying?
man. Yeah, we're gonna do some big things down here together, man. Mike's good people, man. I know his family, and he balled down here at Shaw University, and he's straight out of Harlem, man. So
Yeah, yeah,
Millbank, you know what I mean? So it's
right, right. So in terms of where are you from? Would you like to? I mean, I know, but can you tell the people a little bit about where you come from and um in terms of where were you, where did you grow up, and And where'd you get your basketball start? Like at what point, age and stuff like that did you start playing ball?
Yeah, I grew up in East Harlem, man. East Harlem, 123rd between Park and Lex. That area. They used to call it Upaka.
Mm.
I grew up in that area, man. And they used to have in the back of 1990, they used to have these, these courts back there. You know what I mean? And they had the lights on and all night long.
Mm.
So in the summertime, they had the music. That's when hip hop was really just the birth of hip hop.
Right.
Everybody had their boom boxes and and all that kind of stuff, man. But I always gravitated, towards playing ball because I watched all the older cats out there playing, and I used to have to sit around for like 10 or 15 downs and pick my own crew.
Yeah.
And they never passed me the ball. You know what I mean? It was one of those things. So it was just like I was a, tall, lanky kid, and I just loved the game, man. My mom one time she came home and she was hanging out in a club, and she met Walt Clyde Frazier, and she told me, "Yo, I got an autograph for you from Walt Clyde Frazier," and I was like, she was so excited, and I was like. So I know he played ball for the Knicks.
Right.
So I was excited. I was like, man, she's so excited to give me this autograph. I want to be like that dude. I want to play ball.
Right.
I first got that feeling like I want to be a baller.
Right. And about how old were you at that time?
Man, I might have been about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. And I used to just we used to play in the garbage cans, man. Like, because sometimes we couldn't get on the court, man. We put our little garbage cans over there with a basketball, and we'd be shooting around. It was like that, at that age, man. So it was crazy, man. Back in Harlem, back in that time, man, it was crazy.
Hey, I mean, we from different eras, but we both come from those. Well, I'm from Harlem as well. Originally born and raised, and like yourself, been come from humble beginnings. Just like what you just said in terms of playing ball in the garbage can, whatever you could put together. You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you could put together and get a couple of guys, man, and they had a little little area where you could ball out and handle the ball, and because sometimes you couldn't get on the court because the big guys were on the court, and they. It was tough getting a run. They weren't gonna pick you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It felt like you can ball. You know what I mean? That's basically how it was.
No, of course, man. How did growing up in East Harlem prepare you for the rest of your life?
Wow, man.
In retrospect,
man. Well, where we come from. I mean, it was sometimes your mom had to rob Peter to pay Paul. You had to. I used to come to. I know you say you from Taft. We used to play against different projects.
Yeah.
We used to have a crew of guys, and we go play Taft, or we go play on the west side at the projects. We go uptown, and man, if you beat them too bad, you had to run and find your way home, man. They weren't having it,
Right.
The girls used to be out there. They, if you embarrass them. You had to run for your life after the game. So it prepared me, for, just the resiliency, man, and just the love of the game. It was totally street ball, man. It was totally, black top back then. And then, then I got into the organized ball, but it just prepared me for whatever comes, man. You just got to handle whatever comes your way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, everything after that, man, was, traveling around and, with Riverside and all that kind of stuff. But just the fear factor, like I wanted to get out of there.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how it prepared me. Like it made me focus on like, I don't want to live here for the rest of my life. That's basically what it was for me. It was a way out.
Right.
That's how, ball prepared me at a young age. I was thinking, man, because where I grew up, man, it was hookers on the one corner, the liquor store and the guys that hung out in front of the liquor stores on the other corner, and a lot of confusion in the middle.
Right.
It's like people getting hurt. It was, you were on all, as soon as you walked out your building, you was on, like you was like this, like what's going, you had to be aware, man, all the time.
No, you had to. You still kind of have to. But in terms of the the generations, I think that my generation, probably was one of the last ones that could do what you just said, go to different projects and play ball versus the different guys from the different hoods, and that really was that allowed you to not only make friends, but now you can go into different hoods now, and you can hang out, and they know you for playing ball. Leave him alone. That's the man.
Man, because I grew up in a gang infested area. They had the Spanish Kings, and I used to come home bouncing the ball, man, and they, a couple of cats wanted to, snatch me up and put me in the gang, and one of the brothers was like, one of the guys was like, yo, man, leave that guy alone, man. He gonna be something one day. He gonna be a ball player. He said, nobody don't mess with him. You know what I mean? Just like that. And it was like, nobody messed with me after that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They let me live. You know what I mean? I lived on a block with a gang, but I didn't have to be in that gang because somebody saw that I was I had a focus and I could ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I was growing up.
No, of course. That's how it is, man. Nowadays, kids can't even go into other hoods now because they shooting up crazy just for even going, being from a different neighborhood. They shooting and carrying on. So
when I grew up, it wasn't more the gun. It was like they straight up, or they'll pick up a stick or something. It wasn't, you ain't had to worry about getting really shot or nothing like that.
Right.
The young kids didn't have those type of weapons, but they will jump you.
At the very worst.
If you didn't make it over the fence,
somebody might get cut though. It might get cut.
Yeah, you definitely gonna get some knots if you slipped up and couldn't make it out, or you didn't know which way to run. You know what I mean? After the game was over.
Now, Ernie, at what point did you realize yourself that similarly to what you just said, that the older guy kind of told people to leave you alone. Yo, he's gonna be somebody, one day. At what point did you personally say, yo, you know what, this basketball might be able to take me, some places, and if I stay focused and dedicated, it's gonna take me far. At what point did you realize that?
Well, man, when I was maybe a freshman in high school, you know what I mean? It was like, I was kind of recruited to go to Talent Time by my high school coach, Bob Austin. He used to come around to the different tournaments citywide, and I was playing with the church. I was playing Riverside.
Right.
And, that's a whole nother, story. Riverside, just playing for Ernie Lorch. And he used to call me his namesake. You know what I mean? He was like, oh, your name Ernie? Yeah, my name Ernie Lorch. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna be my namesake, like, and it went from there, man. Playing, Riverside, growing up, traveling, to Arizona, the Utah, young man. I'm flying on a plane in the 8th grade, and traveling, playing against, AAU squads from all over the country, So I was like, and then back then, if you played for Riverside, they had a rep. If you came back in the neighborhood with a Riverside jacket on, bag.
That bag was there. I don't know if it was the same bag or not, but
they had the Riverside bag. People say, "Oh, he can play."
Right.
We won everywhere we went. You know what I mean? I didn't lose.
Right,
I had trophies for days. How many I had to give? This before I even got to high school. I mean, it was crazy. You know what I mean? Citywide, we played everywhere. But yeah, about the 9th grade, I was like, at Talent Time, we won the freshman championship I played, freshman basketball at Talentine, and I was like, man, I think I might be able to make this. I might make, people kept saying, I might be able to do something with this basketball thing, man.
Right.
I came back from there, and I came back to my neighborhood, and the older cats saw me. They was like, and they saw how tall I got, and they, my ball skills got a little better. They start amping me up, like, yo, come on, E.
Right.
That's when you knew when they start picking you.
Right.
Yo, we got Ernie, come on, man.
As soon as you get to the park,
as soon as you get to the park, everybody like, yo, I got Ernie, man. I'm like, okay. This. I graduated from like sitting there for hours to yo, you got tall. Oh,
right.
You got
You're the man now. You're the man now.
Yeah. So I started feeling that, man, and I was like, man, if I keep working hard, I could, I might be able to make this thing work.
Right. Now you play. You mentioned Talentine,
right?
Which was one of the most legendary programs in the country,
right?
Especially at that time. Unfortunately had closed down, but it does have a legacy that would live on forever.
Yeah, I played my varsity. I played varsity as a sophomore, and I played with a guy by the name of Mike Moses.
Okay.
He played at St. John's, and he's a great point guard, and he was a smart guy too. I followed him to Talentine. He was a couple of years older than me. When I was a sophomore, he was a senior, and we won the city championship that year. That was the first Talentine high school city championship that we won with that team. We had Darryl Johnston, Kevin House. We had a nice crew, man. Charlie Fordson, and we won the city championship my sophomore year, and that started the Talentine legacy. That, and we won 3 more years after that. Every year I was there, we won a championship, and when I left, we were ranked number 2 in the country.
Wow.
That brought all, the Brian Reeses and the Malik Sealy's, Adrian Autry, all those guys followed that legacy.
Right. And that, even after that, Kareem Reed went there. A couple,
Yeah. So a lot of cats, at that time, nobody had done that since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it at Powell Memorial.
Right.
Won 3 championships or 4 championships like in a row. City championships in the Catholic League back then.
That's tough, man. That's one of the most legendary programs and story programs in history. Like when did with you guys winning and having success early on, when did you start getting attention from the colleges, and when did they start kind of getting in touch with you and trying to retain your services for being a student athlete at their college, and sending you letters, and when did that whole kind of thing start off for you?
Yeah, when I went to 5-star. I went to 5-star in my junior year after we won 2 championships my sophomore and junior year. I went to 5-star basketball camp, man, and I was down there in Pittsburgh. I was down there with Michael Jordan. He was a year ahead of me, and Len Bias. He was a junior in that camp, and I went down there, man, and I wowed them down at the camp, man. I was doing my thing, man. I averaged about 30 some points a game, and at 5-star, and left there as one of the top juniors. I got the top junior in the camp. Jordan, he got everything. He was a great high school ball player. We were all waiters at that camp.
Right.
At 5-star, and if guys who've been to 5-star know
you got to be a waiter.
All the waiters were ball players. You know what I mean?
Right.
They were the guys who everybody came to see, all the college scouts. So, after I did that, I started getting letters, man, like crazy. I started getting letters from colleges from all over the country. It was unbelievable.
Like, what kind of schools, were getting your interest, in terms of, like, wow, I can't believe they sent me a letter, like what kind of schools were interested in you early on?
Man, every school. It was like I was getting letters from. I had a suitcase full of letters. My mom. It was like every school in the country, man, was sending me letters, man, saying, "Hey, you're only a junior or whatever, but hey, I was getting letters from all over the country, West Coast, USC, Georgetown, North Carolina, all the big schools, Division I schools were sending me mail, man. It was off the chain.
Right. Now, what made you, ultimately select NC State as the place where you were gonna go and play your collegiate basketball?
Well, I was a big David Thompson fan, and he went to NC State, and but it was Jimmy V. Jimmy V was at Iona when I was in Talentine.
Right.
His father at my high school. So my high school coach used to see Jimmy V running around the gym as a little kid, trying to, a little snotty nosed kid, he used to say. But
right.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
So I had a big game against Rice High School, and Jimmy V was still at Iona. He was recruiting Mike Moses, the guy I was telling you about, Mike Mo.
Right.
And, Mike Mo was going there until Jimmy V left and went to NC State, and he transferred out. But so he came and watched me play against. I was a sophomore or a junior, and he said, "Yo, man, in 2 years I'll be back to get you." So I was like, whatever. I didn't even, as a sophomore, I didn't really think that I had the talent at that time. But he saw something in me, and I was like, okay. So now I'm a senior. I'm one of the top players in the country, and here he comes, and he's at NC State now. So he was like, "Yo, remember 2 years ago I ran after you in the locker room?" He said, "Man, I knew before anybody." He said, "I knew you was going to be a ball player before anybody, before any of these coaches."
Right.
I was like, I was like, he's right, because I remembered he ran after me and was like, "Yo, I'm 2 years. I'll be back to get you, man."
Right. And you remembered that.
Yeah, I remember that. And he was like, "Yo, I'm your homeboy. I'm from Queens." This is how he talked. You know what I mean? He's a white guy, but he was like, "Yo, I'm your homeboy. I'm from Queens."
Right.
Said, "Man, I coached at Iona. Now I'm at NC State. Yo, what's up, man? We want you." He said, "I knew before anybody." He was the first guy that I saw. So he was like a comedian. He was like a live wire, man. When he came in, he performed, and so he kind of intrigued me. I was like, this guy, like, off the chain. He was like, "Yo, man, we trying to win a national championship, man. We got 3 seniors. You're coming back next year on your, you come down, you could be a piece of that puzzle." He said, "I'm trying to win a national championship down there, man. He said, I ain't playing." He said, "I'm bringing players in. You're going to be my first big player, McDonald's All-American, I'm bringing in to the school."
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, after that, man, I was like, I visited a whole bunch of schools or whatever, but I knew where I was going after that, man.
Right. You just felt that vibe. And
I felt that New York vibe, man. I felt that. I didn't care, because my coach was like, "Yo, Ernie, he don't play your style of basketball. He kind of slows it down, and you like to run and gun." And I was like, well, the ACC at that time had a 30-second clock. Like, the NBA had a 24-second clock.
Right.
The ACC had a 30-second clock my freshman year.
Right.
So I was like, you can't hold the ball. You got to
put it up.
You got to put it up. Ain't gonna be no slow down. It's the 30-second clock. I'm like, that's my game right there. So,
right.
Up and down, run and gun. I'm on. You get a fast break, I'm gonna be on one of those wings.
Right.
What I mean? So I said, and it wasn't far from home. I had family down in North Carolina, so I was like, man, I'm going, man. I felt that. I went to visit, met with the guys. My boy Lorenzo Charles, God bless the dead. He was, come on, E, come on down, man. We can do it. You know what I mean? He was from Brooklyn. I was like, I was like, yeah, I'm coming.
Lorenzo Charles, God bless his dead. He's actually the one who actually sealed the deal for you guys' national championship in '83, right?
Yeah. He caught the air ball, Wittenberg.
Right.
Shot up and he dunked it at the last second, man. So, we we put them. We had a great run in that tournament, man. That was my first year, so it was like I won 4 championships in high school. Now I'm in, I'm at state.
We're gonna get right back to that. We're gonna get right back to the what I'm saying, your college years. Right before that, I just want to touch on the McDonald's All-American selection and the game. You know what I'm saying? In terms of how how it made you feel to be not only selected, but to everybody holding you at putting you on that pedestal for being that person, what I'm saying, that made it to the McDonald's All-American game. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment.
I used to open up the Playboy, magazine, the Ebony magazine, Jet magazine. Right. They used to have the McDonald's All-American. They called it the Dream Team. That was the first Dream Team.
Right.
They called it the Dream Team. And I was like, man, I want to be on that team. I want to be one of those guys. You know what I mean? And it was real for me. It was like, I worked hard, man. I averaged 30 points a game in high school. We won champion everywhere I went. We won. And it was just like that feeling, like that was my dream. Like that was part of my dream. I wanted to be on that team.
Right.
I wanted to be one of the best high school players in the country. And it came true. I was top 5, dead or alive, coming out of high school. Top guard, 2 guards, shooting guards, coming out of high school that year. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was an unbelievable feeling, man. The game was unbelievable. It was in Chicago that year. We had Johnny Dawkins, we had Brad Daugherty, we had who else played on that? Buck Johnson, Curtis Hunter, Brad Lowhouse. It was Wayman Tisdale.
God bless.
Yeah, we had it was a crazy crew, man. This kid named Ephraim Winters who went to Illinois. I was on the East squad, and they had the West squad, but it was an unbelievable feeling, man, to make that team, man. When they selected me and I found out I made it, it was almost at the end of the season. And my high school coach said, he came up to me and said, man, you made the dream team. I was like,
Is that the year that Pearl Washington was there? Or
no, that was the year before Pearl.
Okay.
Before, Pearl came the next year.
Okay, right. So you were in that like 82 game.
Yeah, I was in the 82 game, man.
Cool.
Yeah, I was in the 82 game, and it was it was crazy, man. The practices, all the coaches, all your college, because they flew you and your coach, your high school coach, to the game. They picked you up in a limo. It was top notch, man. And that year in Chicago, McDonald's is the headquarters. Their headquarters is in Chicago.
Right.
So they took us to Ebony magazine. That's where they're headquartered as well. Jet magazine. They toured us around. We went to the Ronald McDonald House. We went to the McDonald's headquarters, and we went to McDonald's. They turned off the registers, bananas, and eat whatever you wanted to eat, man. It was just, that was like they was treating you like a superstar, man.
Right. You got to take.
A fly jacket. You had a McDonald's ring. It was just crazy. When you came back home, it was a lot of hate when you came back home.
Nah, I'm sure.
It was hate.
That's that hate feel good though. That hate feel good.
Yeah. You come home, you got a McDonald's All-American jacket on. You rocking the ring, and they like, hey, I want to. Everybody wanted to have that, man.
Absolutely.
So Cass was hating, but I was like, hey, I earned it. They couldn't deny me. They couldn't say, nah, he wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? They knew,
right.
Yeah, I belong.
Right. Nah, of course, man. And that's like you said, that's every kid wants to be at the highest level when they play. And McDonald's All-American, man, they already say, making it to the league is one in a million. But I think that being selected in high school, you're still a kid, and just having them kind of acknowledge your talent, and as one of the special kids in the country, that's priceless, man. You can't even put a price tag on that.
You man, and that follows you your whole basketball career. Not every McDonald's All-American makes it to the NBA.
Right.
Like now, guys, what have you, but that year, those years, you build up. You went from sophomore, junior,
right,
senior, and if you the top gun in New York City, it's the mecca of basketball. So
say that one more time, man.
New York City is was the mecca of basketball back when I played in high school, man. So it was
still the mecca, man. Still the mecca. So Ernie, in terms of so now you mentioned Jimmy V. He was the main reason why you chose NC State. And you mentioned his personality, some of the flair he had for and charisma that he had off the court. But can you tell me like a little bit about like what kind of coach he was? Was he like was he one of those screamers? Was he yelling at everybody? Everything moving? Was he because he's legendary. He's a legendary dude.
He was an Italian dude, man. So they have they kind of fiery. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
You remember what's the guy that coached at Villanova with Ed Pinckney and those guys? They were all fiery, man. He was that guy. Right. But what he did do was he treated you like a man. He ran you. If you wasn't ready to play, it wasn't on him.
Right.
Now you decide to go hang out and not be ready to play. He was going to put somebody else in the game. You know what I mean? But he prepared you. He didn't check your room. He didn't none of that, man. He just treated you like a man. Like you got this responsibility, and if you ain't up to it, I'm gonna have somebody else ready to take your spot. Just like that. Like, yeah, he was a yeller, he was a screamer. Not in a negative. Really guys or or anything like that. But he let you know, like, yo, you ain't getting the job done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and he was an in-game coach. He coached the game like in game, like
while it's going on, like
he was making moves. He was like a chess player, like during the game, But yeah, man, he prepared you for the game, and he made sure you was ready to play. You knew what everything the other team was going to be doing. You know what I mean? So he ran it down, broke their offense and defense down to the very last compound. We ran all their plays in practice. He was that type of guy. He was meticulous in that type of way. Right. But yeah, he was a fiery guy though. He got on the refs and and in practice he'll clown you too. If you ain't, he'll clown you. He was a funny guy, but he let you know in a certain way if you wasn't getting it done. He'll have the whole team laughing at you. Right. What I mean? In practice or whatever, like, yo, you ain't doing what you're supposed to. You ain't getting it done or whatever. But he said it in a funny way.
Right.
But not in a disrespectful way. But he let you know, like, oh, yo, okay. And if you weren't getting it done, man, he sit you down, man. He always used to say, if you sitting on the bench and I look over at you and you mad, you angry that I took you out or whatever, he's like, you think I'm going to put you back in the game? You mad at me? You think I'm going to put you back out there?
Right.
You better be looking at me like I want to get in.
Yeah. With the puppy dog eyes.
When you look down, you better be looking at him like, yo, I want to get in. I want to get in the game. He said, you'll sit there forever sulking.
Absolutely, man. That sounds like
that's how he was. He tell you.
Sounds like my type of dude, man, right there, man.
Yeah, he was straight up and down, man. He was straight up and down. He'd do anything to win, man. That's it. He didn't care who scored what. He didn't care whatever. He wanted to win the game, and that's what attracted me to him, man. I was all about winning.
Right,
I didn't yeah. Some people used to call me Ernie, he a nut, or he a gunner, or whatever. but I won. You know what I mean? I won everywhere I went. So if I'm winning and it's working, hey, I'm winning. You know,
it's like almost like Floyd Mayweather, man. A lot of people don't like his style, and you know, but he, the guy is undefeated. He wins. That's
he wins. And that's all I cared about was winning, man.
That's the name of the game.
I hated losing, man. I hated losing. I mean, with a passion. A lot of young cats, man. Some cats could score 50 and be happy if they lost. I wasn't that cat. I was the cat if I had a great game when we lost, I didn't care about the game. You know what I mean? I didn't care about the game. I was gonna be bragging. Yeah, we lost, but I had 50.
Right. I want to hear about that.
I wasn't that guy. I was the guy. If I had 10 points and we won, I was happy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if I had a great game and we won, but I'll do anything to win.
Right.
That's what coach I do. I hustle. I'll jump on the blues floor. I'll, whatever, man. I'll guard the best guy on the team. I'll take that big shot or whatever, man. That's how I was, man. I did anything to win the game. As long as I won, I was happy, man.
Hey, that's the name of the game, man. And you got that drive and that hunger to win.
Yeah.
The rest is history.
That's how you get a rep. So people talk about you or whatever, he shoot too much, he a ball hog or whatever, but I got 3 champions. I got how many rings? I got championships I got, I mean, I'm winning.
So rumor has it, man, that your freshman year, you stepped out the gate, and freshman year versus the Duke Blue Devils, you had like 35 points, something like that. Can you just tell me a little bit about how that felt being a freshman on that kind of stage in the ACC to have a performance like that?
I tell you, the 80s was one of the toughest eras of ACC basketball because I played against Ralph Sampson, Adrian Branch. A lot of people don't remember him from Maryland. Len Bias was at Maryland as well. Jordan, Sally, Mark Price was at Georgia Tech. Duke had Johnny Dawkins, Allery, and all that whole crew. They were young, but to be on that type of stage, man, and Wittenberg got hurt, broke his foot. I came in. And I was playing anyway. I was coming on. I started before he got hurt.
Right.
Anyway, I mean, I was playing a small forward at certain times, so I was confident. So when he got hurt and I stepped in, it was just like, okay, coach said, Ernie, we need you to do more what you were doing already. We need you to score the ball. He gave me the green light. So I was like, okay, he gave me the green light. It's on. So after that, I was averaging like 17 points a game and leading the team in scoring for about 2 or 3 months, and I have a game like that against, they were a bunch of freshmen too.
Right.
That Duke team was a young team, so when I played against them, it was like, I was playing.
These are babies.
Yeah. We all young, but, I was one of the top players in high school players in the country at that time coming in. So I was like, okay. But it was like I scored in bunches. I didn't know I had 35 until the end of the game.
Right.
I only missed like 3 shots the whole game. It was like inside, outside, slash and drop. Steals. It was, and it accumulated. And at the end of the game, when they said the number, it was like I had the record for in the history of the ACC.
Right.
At that time, no freshman has ever scored more than 35 points in a game.
Right. Now being a game with 2 halves, that's just insane.
Yeah. It was just like, every time I touched the ball, it went in, man. It was just like, V just gave me the ball, man. I had a good point guard, Sidney Lowe. He was
a monster.
Guard. He had 18 assists. I think I had all those assists that game. You know what I mean? But it was just an unbelievable feeling to come into the ACC and be on that type of stage, man. And in the South, man, and they love basketball down here, man. It's a whole different environment because they didn't have any pro sports.
Right.
So these games, man, it was like
right.
like barnyard, packed house.
Yeah.
They see you walking in the street, it's like you're a pro.
Right. You want to be on that. You want to be on that team side, not the opposition at that point.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And our fans here at NC State, they were great, man, back then, man, and just being able to do that, man, it was crazy, man.
Shout out to my guy Joe Almeida. You know what I'm saying? He said E. Myers was spectacular, 6'5" with a boogie.
Yeah, man, good people, man. I follow him on Instagram, man. He posts some great stuff, man. Some stuff from the Boston shootout.
He's a Boston guy. He's a Boston guy, man. Salute to my guy Joe. But from that team, from that 83 team that won that national chip, do you now still talk to anybody from that team?
Oh,
or even contact?
I don't know if you saw a 30 for 30 on ESPN. We had a 30 for 30 called Survive in Advance, that we got an Emmy for.
Right.
It was, we had a great time making that. But yeah, I talked to Cozell McQueen today, man. Lorenzo Charles, before he died, man, I spoke to him that same day.
Wow.
He was living down here. My boy Alvin Battle. Yeah, we all here. Sidney Lowe. We stay in contact, man. We stay in contact, man. It's one of those things that nobody could take away from you. And the way we won, they called us the Cardiac Pack, man. So we, the way we won those games, man, our game is one of the best games in the history of the tournament.
Right.
You know what I mean? I tell people that before our game, it was called the Final Four. After we won it, they start calling it March Madness. After we won,
that's a fact. That's a fact right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They start calling it March Madness because of the way we won. We beat all the big teams. Jordan, Elijah Wan, Drexler, all of them. We won. Before it was just called the Final Four.
Let me ask you this, right? Like, so of course of the you played against Jordan, you played against guys like Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, Len Bias, just to name a few. Of these guys who climbed the ladder and were able to make the NBA, and surpassed certain expectations or whatever the case may be, and maybe Hall of Fame guys or what have you.
Uh-huh.
Was there any like conversation that you could like remember, like, yo, me and Jordan was going at it. He was trash talking me. I remember what he said, and
that happened all the time, man. I mean,
what kind of guys were these guys at that time, or did you not even pay attention because of course you're on the opposition?
Yeah, Len Bias was a trash talker, but we were good people. We knew each other. We were friends.
Right.
And even Jordan, we were all at 5 stars. So we grew up, playing in, all-star games and summer basketball at 5 stars. So I knew a lot of these guys before I went to the ACC.
Right. But at that time, it was, like now with LeBron and all these characters that are,
right.
Buddy with everybody. And
it wasn't like
it wasn't that.
It was like that off the court.
Right.
On the court. We didn't shake hands and, we were going at each other. Jordan, I remember playing against him and he was like, man, you can't guard me, freshman. I was like, yo, I'm from, my New York attitude was like, I don't care.
Right.
I'm giving it to anybody who won it.
Right.
That was my mentality. Like, I'm coming at you. I ain't backing down. I'm from Harlem. You country boy. You know what I mean? You from Wilmington. I grew up in Harlem. You ain't gonna come out here and punk me. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna happen.
Hey, Ernie, man, I take that mentality everywhere I go, man. That's the first words I say is I'm from Harlem, man. What you talking about? Like,
what you talking about? That ain't changed. I'm like, yo, I done seen you ain't been through what I've been through. And you grew up like how I grew up, man. I had to survive, man. So and you ain't gonna punk me. Like, we gonna go and I'm talking trash back. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I don't know who you think you talking to.
Right. You got to be able to hold your own in order to talk anything back.
Oh yeah. And they had to respect me. He knew. They knew. They like, yo, this kid ain't playing. He coming. I wasn't scared to play.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, I had already traveled with Riverside. You know, I traveled around and played ball against all of them. You know, so it wasn't no fear involved. And you ain't gonna, and you want to talk trash, we're gonna talk trash. We're gonna play. You know, I remember one game I blocked his shot, you know, and he was talking trash, and he was like, yo, and then I snatched it off, ran a fast break. It's a video. You can see it on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see me talking trash to him, like, yo, what? You know what I mean? Like, what? You know, it was never no fear, man. It was never no fear.
Hey man, that's the name. That's the first thing, man. If you have fear in your heart, man, you ain't gonna make it in this game.
Oh yeah.
Maybe nowadays. I don't know how it is nowadays, but
the killers are gonna smell the fear, brother. You know, that's just it.
Right.
I used to play against guys. I knew they were scared of me. You know what I mean?
Like, oh, I got one. Yeah.
Yo. They
your teammates. You're telling your teammates, yo, I got one over here. Like,
You just knew that they heard about you and they were nervous.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, Mike Tyson said, you know, that's how he performed. He had guys scared.
Right.
I mean, he could smell it. You know, he could look at a guy and be like, yo, I'm gonna knock this dude out. You know, I'm gonna knock this dude out.
Yeah. He could already tell before he swing it, before he make any punches, throw any punches. He could tell I'm gonna knock it. Yeah.
No, I see him watching me lay the ball up. I'm like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So in terms of you know, in terms of your pro aspirations, you know, as every child's dream growing up who picks up a basketball to make it to the NBA.
Right.
Now, was this on your radar at, you know, being a junior, senior?
Yeah, it was on my radar screen. It was, you know, playing or whatever. But what happened was the game kind of slowed down a little bit for me, you know, playing in college. I had a lot of off the court family drama, you know, that, you know, kind of caught my attention or whatever. And, you know, my junior and senior year, you know, I made it to the Final 8 twice.
Right.
You know, I won a national championship in college and went to the final, almost made it to the Final 4 twice. So in my career, I won a national championship and was on, you know, and was on the verge of going to the Final 4 twice. One year, my junior year, we lost to St. John's. The year they went to the Final 4, they had Walter Berry, you know, Chris Mullins, and that crew. And then my senior year, we lost to Danny Manning and Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah, we lost to them. A tough game. The game was in Kansas, but it was an NCAA tournament, so it was like a home game for them.
Right.
You know, we lost, but yeah, man, it kind of, you know, I kind of lost the drive, man. It was just like I lost my mojo in regards to the game, you know, and I was going to school, you know, I always knew I could do something else, but it was my dream to play in the league.
Right.
That's every kid's dream, coming out of Harlem and the whole 9 yards. But I never played in the NBA.
Yeah, my fault. My camera just went out. I don't know what happened, but all right, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can see you.
All right, cool. So now, when
played overseas.
Right. So when did you kind of like lose that mojo? Like, was that senior year? Was that junior year? Or like what? Like when did that happen for you in terms of like losing that motivation and you know, in terms of playing ball and ultimately trying to get to the league?
It was just you know, I didn't want to be a guy. You know, certain guys, they went and they played in the CBA. And they played, and I don't knock these guys. They played in the CBA. Guys like Mario Elie,
right?
You know, played in the CBA, played over in Europe, played, you know, and then they got a shot in the NBA,
right?
You know, my mindset was, you know, I didn't want to be a guy that's 30 years old, 28 years, still playing basketball while, you know, my counterparts out there, they working, they doing their thing or their business or what have you. They in business, you know. So it was just like, for me, it was like, I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? And then I had a kid, you know, at that time, and, you know, I had to do, you know, I didn't want to be away from him.
Right.
You know, and at that time, so it was just kind of like, you know, I had to man up, you know, like really man up. And I kind of just said in my mind, I got my degree from the university. So I always said to myself, I'm not leaving here with nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I won a national championship. I'm getting my degree before I promised my moms that I wasn't leaving school until I got that paper.
She's like, bring me my paper. Bring me my paper.
Yeah. I was the first in the history of a generation of my family to get a college degree. You know what I mean? So it was just that, and always feeling like I could do something else, and I just lost that. And even though I used to watch guys, and I was like, man, I know I could have played in the league if I'd have just grinded it out and went to the CBA and played more years over in Europe. I could have came back and played in the league, but I just didn't have. I just lost that drive to do that.
Right. So you had mentioned that you went overseas and played professionally overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you? At what point did you kind of get rid of the aspirations of maybe getting to the league somehow, clawing your way in? Like, was that like after a few years, or was it like, yo, I'm just gonna after a few seasons you was just like, listen, I'm just gonna settle down here and
settle down. That's basically what happened after I came from playing overseas in Germany or whatever, and I came back and I was like, I saw guys. I mean, I practiced with guys. I practiced with, Mark Jack. They had this, you could try out with the Knicks or you try out with the, and I had a tryout with the Los Angeles Clippers, and I just couldn't do it. I just didn't have it, man. I just didn't have, that hunger like I had before.
Right.
To make it to the league. I didn't have that anymore. I was playing against guys who, that's all they had.
Right.
Like they this is the only way they were gonna make it in life.
Right.
I don't knock them. I don't knock them. They they did it and they made it or whatever, but they didn't have nothing to fall back on.
Yeah, they ain't had no plan B. They just had to.
There was no plan B. You know what I mean? And I had a plan B.
Right.
And a lot of guys that don't have a plan B, they straight A and they going for it. They like, this is how I'm gonna make it.
Right.
I'm gonna keep playing and until somebody say they're gonna put me on their team.
Right.
And I just didn't have that. I lost that, man. I lost that, and maybe because I won so much growing up. I won so much in college and high school and whatever, and then I was like, man, this is my dream. I want to make it there, but I'm not willing to give all this up. I'm not willing to do anything to get there.
Right. I don't want to sacrifice it all just to
Yeah. And I'm not saying I gave up or or what have you. It was just one of those things where I felt that I could do something else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
How many seasons did you play overseas?
2.
Okay. And where'd you go?
I played over in Germany. I played in Innsbruck, Austria for a German bank. And it wasn't a whole lot of money. Most of the guys back then who got paid were big guys going overseas. If you were, 7-footer or if you played in the NBA and you came, you got paid.
Right.
Most of the European guards, they were pretty good. They shot the ball. They didn't have what, I had. I mean, I still scored a lot of points or whatever, but it wasn't no NBA type of game. You know what I mean? It wasn't NBA type of competition.
Right.
That type of thing. You know what I mean? So it was just like, do I want to go back home and go to somebody's camp? And it just didn't at that time for me, it just didn't, it wasn't, I didn't feel that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was just like, okay, I did what I did. I'm done. I can do something else, and a lot of cats would get at me like, yo, hey, you should be out there playing, what you doing, man? What you doing out? You should be on, come on, man, come get this money with us, man. Guys say that play in the league. Like, yo, man, you can play in this league. I know you. And I'm like, man, I just don't. But they have to go to, the trial.
Yeah.
And be one of those. I never had to do that.
And there's a lot of politics also
Yeah,
involved.
politics too. It's like they like you, you good. You know, if a coach see you and they like you, and they're gonna give you a shot.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I just didn't feel it, man. I just didn't feel like, every team that I made, if I didn't get drafted in the first round or some team picked me or whatever, I didn't want to be the guy that was trying to make it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just, and I much respect to all the guys who did. They made it. They made it to the league. Like I have much more respect for Mario Elie, guys like that who, traveled the world and guys who went to 15 different high schools and
right. They made it happen.
yeah, they made it happen somehow. They made it to the league, and then here I was, a McDonald's All-American, and I came up and I, won a championship. I averaged 12 points a game my freshman year on a national championship team.
Right.
Right. If you do that right now,
yeah, you're going.
First rounder.
Yeah, you're going.
You going to the NBA. You know what I mean? If you average double figures on a national championship team as a freshman, you getting drafted.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, my thing was, okay, when I came, we won the championship, and it was like, okay, maybe that was the worst thing that could have happened to me. Because I came, I won so much, and then I came to college and I won a national championship, an ACC championship.
Right,
so I got kind of fat early. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, you kind of like, you don't work as hard.
Right. You got comfortable.
Yeah, you got comfortable. I got kind of comfortable. Like I didn't, and it was just the way it happened to me.
And you know what, and there may not be an explanation for it. You know what I'm saying? It just,
right.
It didn't happen. If I'm sure if they said, hey, Ernie, come on over here to the Milwaukee Bucks, we got something for you, I'm sure you'll be there, right? You know what I'm saying? Probably with that Milwaukee Bucks hat and shirt on right now.
But, right.
It didn't happen, and everybody's story, it probably wasn't meant to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. I made it. Believe me, I made it.
Look at, God bless the dead, Malik Sealy. You know what I'm saying? He made it. You know what I'm saying?
He made it. And look what,
and then,
God bless the dead, man.
So, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's story, everything that's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And it, you know what I'm saying? I truly.
And I was happy for him, man. He went to St. John's. We had the same birthday. He's born February 1st. He went to Talentine. We hung out. We won a championship together up in 55th.
I wanted to actually talk about that real quick too, because we coming down on time right now. We approaching the hour mark. There's no like set, there's not no set time or whatever. But I try to keep them. I don't try to keep these interviews too long. But I did want to touch on the whole street ball thing with you, man. I know that you played up at 55th, Rucker Park, and a number of the other tournaments that were in New York City.
Man, I played in all those tournaments, man, and like I said, I didn't have no nickname or whatever. They just knew I could, they just knew at the game, like if I'm playing against, he's coming to play.
Right.
I didn't have no, I didn't have any nickname. I was E. You know what I mean? And
right.
And we won up at 55th with my man Leonard. He was coaching. I was playing with Chris Brooks, Future. We had John Morton.
My God, Future.
Yeah, my dude John Morton. We had I was always one of the oldest guys with those young guys, Malik Sealy.
Right.
And we played against Steve Burke and Troy Truesdale, and they had everybody, man. They had everybody on their crew. Master Raw, they had all of them. And I think it was like $100,000 bet on the game.
Side bets.
$100,000 on the game. And they had their champagne ready to pop. They had their names and pictures on their jerseys. On their t-shirts. And we came back and won that game, man, and won the championship up in 55th. It was crazy, man. I wasn't a street ball guy, though. I wasn't I wasn't one of those guys, I wasn't an entertainer type ball player. I wasn't, you never see me dancing and,
wrapping the ball around.
Yeah, I ain't nothing wrong. You throw the ball off my head, we fight. You know what I mean? That's just the way I was, man. I was business like that. I didn't play, Back then, early 55th, it was more basketball.
Right.
Then the entertaining part came when Malloy and then Skip to Malou and all those guys, Big John, those guys.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. John
Dead, man, and those guys would come up and they were more entertainers.
Right.
They had a flair for the game, and it was crazy. Master Rob and all those guys came, and my man Ron Matthias.
Terminator.
Terminator was like me. Terminator didn't play.
Yeah.
He was
business-like.
Yeah, he just go at you all day long. He wasn't the flashiest, but he'd give you 40 and beat you up on offense or defense. He played the same, but he was serious about his game.
Layups, mid-range, everything.
Yeah, mid-range, layups, off the glass, runners, steals,
Yeah. Ernie, I just want to touch on, quickly what you're doing now in terms of, your broadcasting as well. Well, you had mentioned that you work with the company that works with the DMV, but but in terms of your broadcasting, how'd you get into that, man? And how'd you get into that?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of podcasts down here for NC State.
Right.
They had podcasts, the Wolfpacker or whatever. And I was doing a lot of those shows. We meet up, and they Ernie Myers, and I would talk basketball.
Right.
Me and this guy, Chris Corciani, he played here. He played with Rodney Monroe. They were Fire and Ice, and he was an NBA ball player, point guard, good point guard, coming out of NC State, one of the all-time greats. And I was doing this podcast, and Chris Corciani was doing the broadcasting of the games.
Right.
So he couldn't make it to one of the games. And it's something I always wanted to do. I would watch, games, and I break them down, and I told my wife, I can do that. I can do that Dick Vitale thing. I can talk about the game. I understand it. I know the flows or what have you. So
right.
So Chris Corciani couldn't make it to a game. And they called me. He gave them my name.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay.
That's tough.
So it was like at the last minute. It was one of those deals where at the last minute I had to learn everything. The game was broadcast on TV or whatever, and I was like, my wife gave me the notes, and I started studying the team. It was the day of the game. So my wife kind of coached me through it because I was kind of nervous. I was like, man, I wasn't expecting that. I wanted to do this.
Right.
But the way it came upon me, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I could be able to do this. I don't want to sound stupid because I don't know the team, and I don't want to
trial by fire almost, huh?
Yeah, it was trial by fire, man. So I just stepped up, man, and was like, okay, here we go. Got there, and everything went well the first game, man. It was like I was talking about the game, and my wife would text me and say, talk more.
Right.
Yeah. One of those, you kind of quiet, keep talking. You good when you talk, you good.
Right.
And I got into it, man, and it was, I fell in love with it, man. It was like I could do this after the first game, and then they started asking me to do more games.
Right.
It was one of those things where you weren't ready, but you had to be ready. They'd say that the fire, what you could do, and it's the last second. What you gonna do?
Are you ready? You ready? No. All right. Well, standing in front of there anyway. Like
yeah. Like you gotta, you understand it. You smile, talk about the game, and talk about what you're seeing. It was one of those Eminem things, when Eminem was saying, "Hey, there's coming a time in your life you gotta done."
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Right.
you had to step up, man, and I stepped up, man, and then
And the rest is history.
the rest is history, man. It was like they gave me an opportunity, and I got that opportunity, man, and I made something of it, and it was I'm waiting for the season to start this year. I don't know how this is going to work.
Yeah.
But, I fell in love with the women's game. I do a lot of women's games, and I do men's games, and I just love it, man. I love it.
Hey, you this is a true testament to your love for the game. Once you get that love, man, it finds its way back.
It finds its way back, man. You love the game. You love to be around the game. You love to talk about the game. And I see these players, and I get to interview them. I go to the practice, and I talk. Just like you see guys. I do the work behind the scenes. I go to the practice. I talk to the coach. Like, hey, how you feeling about? Then I go to the other team's practice. I talk to the coach. You gotta study up.
Right.
Get their notes. What they're doing, how the season's going, who's playing well. It's a whole behind the scenes thing. People don't really. You don't go on TV and like, hey.
Right. You want to know what you're talking about a little bit.
You want to know what you're talking about. The flow of the game. The way this coach coaches. The way this player is playing. Giving him his props and it's
a respect factor. I mean, you showing respect to the team that you're covering or what have you.
Absolutely.
It's just like a situation like this. Had I come into this interview and I didn't know you was from Harlem or I didn't know you went to NC State, then what are you doing? You got to you got to show that respect.
Exactly, and I show that respect, man. My wife ain't gonna let me because my wife is she works for football here at NC State.
Okay.
She writes all the notes. She's the SID here at the university.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so she writes notes and all that stuff you hear guys talking about on TV about the football team or whatever and players.
Right.
She does it. So she makes sure I know what's going on. Like out there looking stupid.
right. Y'all probably talking about it at the dinner table.
Yeah, all those announcers used to come to her and talk to her about, what's going on, like what's going on, who's playing well, who's, they used to read off her notes.
Hey,
like all the top announcers.
What's crazy is that she ain't gonna let you sound crazy anyway.
No. She ain't gonna let me look like, I'm repping the family. I'm repping, repping a whole lot of people. I don't want to sound like a clown on, national TV, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
I want to give the game the respect that it deserves. And these players, they play hard, they work hard, they practice. I watch them in practice, develop. Practice is hard. It makes me remember when I used to be out there, practicing and, getting ready for the game. And, it's tough.
Right.
You got the class, you got all that, you got a lot of other stuff going on. So, but I love broadcasting, man.
Hey, man, you got to keep up the good work, man. Keep inspiring, keep doing your thing. And, keep that love for the game in your heart, man. And
that's what I want to tell. If any young cats are listening to this, they might pick it up online, man. Don't give up, man. Work hard, man, because it ain't nothing good is gonna be easy in life, man. You got to work hard, man. And you gotta master your craft, man, and practice, man, and work hard, man. And good things are happen for you, man. It's not gonna come through osmosis. It's not gonna, it's not gonna come. You got to work hard. Whatever you get, you're gonna work hard for it.
Those are solid parting words from Ernie Myers, everybody. Ernie Myers. Again, man, I like to thank you for your time. This was one of my best interviews. I have your number. I'd love to stay in touch with you, see what's going on.
Once this pandemic is over, man, and they start having games back, man, I'm gonna be up in New York. I love to catch up with you, man. Go to the Garden, watch some games.
Absolutely, man.
It's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate you reaching out, and this has been a blast, man. I really had a great time.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Thanks again, and especially for those parting words, man, because that's important. But I truly am grateful for having you on Legends Talk. and you are a true legend. So much respect to you and to your fam, and I wish you nothing but the best, man.
I appreciate it. And same for you, Kyle. I appreciate it, man. All things hoops. I hope this thing just blows up. You know what I mean? and do what it do for you, man. And it's been a great experience. And thanks a lot, man.
Hey, Ernie, one more thing, man, before we go, man. When you just said, I hope this thing blows up. You know how I know that this thing is going to blow up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Harlem, baby.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, you ain't. You got it in you, man.
Hey, they don't make this cloth no more, man.
Nah, they don't, man. It's unbelievable. We might be a little older. I might be.
Yeah.
But you went through the same things I've been through.
Hey, I got the last piece of cloth, man, from the store, man. And when they was making me, they took the last piece of cloth.
Uh-huh.
I got some of that the older generation still kind of in my genes a little bit, man. So I it rubs off, but
if any way I can help you with anything, brother, don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call, man.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you, champ. You stay blessed, man.
All right, you too. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Legends talk, everybody. Legends talk. Peace. Yo, that was a good interview, man, from my guy, Ernie Myers. Ernie Myers, class act dude. You know what I'm saying? Definitely gonna probably have him up on Legends Talk again. But thank you to everybody out there who took the time out to check us out, see what's going on. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We have Johnny the Shooter. Johnny is a photographer, one of the best photographers in New York City. So definitely stay tuned. And tune in tomorrow at 9:00 Eastern Time, PM. But it's your boy Cal Griffin, Legends Talk, and we out of here, y'all. Peace.